Good afternoon, everyone. I trust we are all doing well. Can everybody hear me? I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to today's webinar. So we're just going to give 2 minutes to the others that are joining so that we'll start. So welcome. Okay, thank you all for being patient with us. Welcome again. My name is Mary Dora Kamara. I'll be your moderator for today. Thank you all for joining. We'll not be able to wait for long. We'll not be able to wait for others for long. I'm sure they'll join us as we continue the webinar. So yeah, just some ground rules for the webinar. Please mute your microphones. Make sure that your mics are muted, and we should all communicate with each other with respect. Sorry. We should all communicate with each other with respect. And also kindly introduce yourself in the chat box because I am moderating. I'll not be able to type. So I'll go first. My name is Mary Laura Kamara. I am joining from Sierra Leone. I am a Sierra Leonean. So you can introduce yourself in the chat box, your name, where you're joining from, what you do, so that we'll get to know you, and then your your nationality. That's it. It's if you're okay with it. If you're not, then it's fine. You just tell us your name, where you're joining from, and what you do. And if you also can, if it's possible, you can share with us your LinkedIn profile or maybe your email. We're not just here to learn, we're also here to connect, to make friends and all. So yeah, don't forget to introduce yourself in the chat box. Thank you. So next we go to the agenda for today's webinar. We'll start with the introduction, general introduction about the organization that's hosting this webinar series. And then we'll go to how well we know Africa. We'll have a little quiz. Africa, I mean, today's countries mostly is going to be what you know about Sierra Leone and Niger for French, and Niger for English people. Yeah, and then we'll go straight to, I guess, speakers. Sorry, we have two speakers for today. We have a beautiful lady and gentleman with us. They're on the call that will be taking us through today's webinar. And then we'll have a session for question and answers, and then we'll have closing remarks. So there's little icing icing in the cake, but that will be later as we go on in the presentation. Sorry. So next, I according to our agenda, I'll give a little brief introduction about Migraine. Migraine is an organization that is into empowering Africans with the knowledge required, of course, for us to move to clean energy and as well as move to clean energy, combat climate change, and improve livelihood. Um, Margarin is founded by three beautiful West African ladies that are that have a passion to contribute to the fight in climate change and mitigation, adaptation, and generally improving the livelihoods of people in Africa, West Africa to be precise. And the vision for Margarin is to actually bring together a community, a network of like-minded people, especially young people and their organizations that are willing to combat the change that is occurring the change that is occurring in our planet. And in this regard, we're keen to doing it by we want we want to do this by talking about clean energy, talking about policies, national development plans, and so we want everybody, young, old, teenagers, to be involved in this fight. And as an organization, we're also open to collaborating with other organizations from policymakers, advocates, and a lot more, like for us to come together and contribute or put in our own quota in this global crisis. And next, with this, Margaret thought about bringing African Energy Series. So I think it's not news that there is a significant knowledge gap among African youth regarding climate change action, like net zero targets plans, and also the energy transition in different countries. Um, like as well as different nations in Africa from the world, as also across the globe. But for now, we're starting it in Africa, and then in the future, we'll extend to maybe Europe, Asia, and other places around the world. So with this, Margaret wants to address and bridge this gap, this knowledge gap. That's why Margaret has started. That's why Margaret started the Africa Energy Series, which has an aim that is very simple but insightful or impactful. It aims to educate and forge partnerships between countries for greater purpose or for greater motives. Let's say Ghana or Nigeria, their national action plans or things that they're doing in mitigating or combating climate change. If we don't know about it, how can somebody in Sierra Leone or the government can be an NGO, government institution, and organization be able to know and maybe implement the same thing that has worked for them, like implement it in Sierra Leone for it to also work and yield the same results. So that's why we've brought together this. That's why we we made the Africa Energy Series for us to be able to get knowledge to bridge the gap, knowledge gap for us to be able to bridge the knowledge gap and learn from each other, from our national action plans, our policies, our net zero targets, and so on and so forth. So yeah, with this, will take us to the beautiful Margaret team. As I told you earlier, that it was founded by three beautiful West African ladies. Tell me we're not beautiful. That's by the way. Yes, so I am Meridora Kamara and I happen to be the program coordinator. And we have Aisha Suleiman Abba, who happens to be our communication and partnership coordinator. And then Miss Georgette Celestine Udor happens to be our technical coordinator. So with this, I would stop sharing and allow Georgette to take us through the Mentimeter for some minutes. Yeah, Georgette, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. I really appreciate the introductions and good afternoon to everyone, and thank you all for joining. I have just shared the link in the chat, so please feel free to join in and let's have a knowledge sharing session where we get to talk about West Africa. Mary, please could you allow me to share my screen?
Yeah, sure, sorry.
All right, no worries. But in the meantime, I'm so happy to see all of you and everyone that's taking out time to join in. Thank you so much for joining in, and I'm sure our guest speakers have something exciting for us today. I am more excited, not because I'm biased from West Africa, but I'm happy to see young and Africans, right? We're trying to make the change we want to see. So that's my joy, especially. So now I will quickly share my screen and let's get to see how best we know Africa. Okay, I see people have already started making their options, so I would get straight to it right away. So please let me know if you can see my screen clearly.
Yes,
Please, can you hear me? Okay, great.
yes,
So
yes.
the first question is, what is the capital of Niger, or Niger as we call it? So I've seen one person's answering. Is it Niamey? Is it Agadez? Is it Harobanda? Okay. Are you sure it's Niamey? Are you sure it's not Agadez? Are you sure it's not Harobanda? I see we are 12 participants on the call, but I'm seeing just 4 responses. I'll just wait for a few more seconds before we proceed to the next question. If you're unable to, just check in the chat. I dropped the link there so you can easily just be a part of this session. So the correct answer to that is Niamey. Niamey is the capital of Niger, or as we call it, Niger Republic. So I'll proceed to the second question, which is how many countries does Niger River pass through? Is it 5 countries? Is it 9 countries? Is it 7 countries? Or is it 3 countries? The Niger River has a very large landscape that flows through different West African countries and is home to several supplies of different African reserves. So please let me know how many countries you think the Niger River passes through. And this is not a wrong or right answer. We're here to learn. So you've not failed, you just would learn from this process. So is it 5 countries? Is it 9 countries? And don't Google, please don't Google. It's just an opportunity for us to learn. So is it 5 countries? Is it 9 countries? Is it 7? Is it 3? Or you can even give me your answer if it's 2. Let's see. So in Nigeria, we call it River Niger too. So we really take preeminence from this country. So let's see how many people. You can guess. Guesswork always helps me sometimes. If you're lucky, you get the right answer. I think people have reduced, but okay. So the correct answer here is 9 countries. So the Niger River has a long diameter and it flows through Mali, Nigeria, Benin, Guinea-Conakry, Guinea-Bissau, Burkina Faso, Chad, Cameroon, and Ivory Coast. So it's also one of the sources of electricity in Nigeria. So which of these countries has the UNESCO World Heritage Site? So around the world, UNESCO has different World Heritage Sites. So which of these 2 countries we're hosting today is a home to one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites? So Sierra Leone, is it Niger? Let's see your answers. Okay. I see those participating have dropped a little bit, but that's also fine. But if you're just joining in, please find the link to this session in the chat box. So if you're unable to log on, you can maybe put your answers in the chat too. So which of these 2 countries has the UNESCO World Heritage Site? Okay, now we're seeing it's high. We need someone to break this tie. Is it going to be Niger or Sierra Leone? Sierra Leone is home to beautiful things. I think one of the things that stands out about Sierra Leone is its capital, which is called Freetown. So it's really, really something to hold on to. What do you think it is the country with the World Heritage Sites? So the answer to that is Niger. Niger is the home to three UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and I'll just name one of it, which is Agadez. So Agadez is seen as the pathway from the south of Africa to the Sahara. So you can find out more about that and Google more, and would like to hear your feedback and your reviews from this. So our second to the last question is, what part of Africa is Sierra Leone? Is it north, is it south, is it west, is it east? If you join early, you would find the answer very easily. It could be the north, though. Sierra Leone is very beautiful, but it could be north. It could be east. It could be west. It could be south. What would you think the answer is? So I think we got this one right. The answer is West Africa. Sierra Leone is in West Africa. So what is the name of the currency used in Sierra Leone? Is it the Sierra Leonean leone? Is it Salone dollar? Or is it Sierra Leone cedis? Okay, I see people are reading. What do you think the answer is? The correct answer here is
Sorry, G. Oh my